Good evening. I would like to call our regular board meeting to order at 7:32. We are located in the village chambers. I'm going to pause so that I can call Trustee Chalmalave, and we need the board to allow her to participate electronic. Her son is sick, so she's taking care of a sick child. So hold on one second, Mr. Clerk.
And then once we get trustee on, I'm going to ask for permission to allow her to participate electronically. We'll take a vote.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Not yet, not yet, not yet.
Oh, not yet, okay.
We're going to open first.
Hello, Trustee Chalmalave?
Yes,
Can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, the clerk is getting ready to take over so that the board can allow you or not allow you to participate electronic. So, Mr. Clerk?
Okay, this will be a roll call first, and then we'll get the permission. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
We got a motion already?
No motion, just roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we was doing the other one. Sorry. Sure, yes.
Trustee Miller's here, and Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Okay, Madam President, we have a quorum at this time. I'm going to ask for a motion from the trustees to allow Trustee Chalmalave, who is participating electronically, to do so. Can I have a motion?
So moved. I need a second. Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Senior, to allow Trustee Chalmalave to participate electronically. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And Madam President, that carries unanimously. Thank you all. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you all. Can we please have a moment of silence? Thank you. Item 2, public comments. Madam President.
Do you want to read the?
We don't have a disclaimer. We're just going to ask that everyone please limit their comments to 3 minutes. And when you do come up for comment, please speak into the mic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Frida McKay?
Hello, trustees and mayor.
Hello.
I'm here to follow up on some, I don't know, maybe it just slipped through the cracks, literally. It's my street, 10th Avenue, between 13th Street and 14th Street. In 2018, it was slated to be replaced in 3 years, and it hasn't been replaced yet, and it's just getting worse. There was some streets replaced in 2021, but they were on the north side of Roosevelt, which were slated the same grade as my street. So I was just wondering if there will be an update for this spring or summer with some of the paving that needs to be done. I mean, my street is full of potholes. So it's the next street of 10th Avenue, and they're just patching them, and they're always run out.
You in the 2300, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the raccoons are back.
Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so. The raccoons are back, so I don't know what we can do.
I'm not laughing at you because
No, it's
they
just,
back on 15th too.
Yeah, I mean,
And
they
22nd.
they tough and they growing. So that's one thing. I don't know if I could call the city, the village, and probably get some traps or something for them before they eat a hole through my entire garage and more my new garbage cans that I finally got. So
Yay.
I just want to put that out there. And what was the other one? That was it.
Well, thank you for your public comment. When Director Ames give a report as it relates to the Public Works Department, I do know that we did have a committee meeting for Public Works that went through the process of street replacements for this year. And so in this year budget, we have approved for $1 million of street projects. So he'll be able to elaborate that on his report if you stay around. And then I'll address your other concerns during the president comments. Next is Mr. Eric Johnson, Housing Forward.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, trustees.
Good evening.
I am here actually tonight. I'm Eric Johnson, Chief Development Officer at Housing Forward, but I'm here on behalf of Linda Schuler. She so wanted to join you this evening and has a really bad stomach bug. So she asked me to come in her stead, and with her apology that she can't join you, to share some just joyous celebratory news. Yep. First, let me thank you for your continued patience with what has turned out to be a very long lead up to two very important events that have taken place very recently regarding our project at 1014, 1020 Roosevelt Road. On March 27th, we finally closed on that project. And then the following Monday, the construction fences went up. So if you're going down Roosevelt Road, you will see those construction fences went up, and then the following week they began breaking the actual ground on that project. So we could not have done that without your patience and your continued support. And Linda was so excited. You cannot imagine how happy she was for these things to line up so quickly, and she so wanted to share that news. So I am sharing it on her behalf. She will be here very soon. So thank you, thank you.
Oh, it's
Greatly
our
appreciate
pleasure. Thank you for speaking on behalf of Linda, and we are really excited about the project that's coming to town.
Yes, finally.
You're welcome.
Yes. But thank you for your support. Have a good night.
You're welcome. You as well. All right, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, thank you. That concludes public comment. Next, item 3, communications. I've got quite a few here, so bear with me. Okay, on Tuesday, April 25th, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., we will have an environmental roundtable hosted by Mayor Thompson. There'll be a registration. I have flyers here for the registration link. Commissioner Ira L. Coral Sepulveda from the MWRD will be there, and we'll be talking about conservation on environment policy and climate impact. Next, join us for a walkathon. This is the annual Answer Inc. Walkathon, Saturday, May 6, 2023, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., right over at Proviso West High School, 4701 West Harrison in Hillside. Registration is at 11 o'clock. Opening ceremonies will be at 11:30. Next, and this is a reminder, vehicle stickers are on sale now. Please purchase your vehicle sticker before April 30th, 2023 to avoid late penalties. You can do so right here at Village Hall at the administrative window in the lobby. Next, a community health and wellness fair presented by Rush Oak Park Hospital. This will be Sunday, April 23rd, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. FFC Oak Park, 1114 Lake Street. This is free to the public. And finally, Broadview just approved a new waste hauler. The proud new waste hauler, SBC Global, will be starting June 1st. They will be delivering the solid waste and recycle cans prior to the start. And this welcome packet, if you care to pick one up in the back, there are copies. But this welcome packet will be available in your water bills. They will be going out on the constant contact mailing email. And also, one will be placed on your can upon delivery. If you have any questions, you can contact Village Hall. And again, this is SBC Waste Solutions, your new hauler. And Mayor, that concludes communications for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Next, item 4, consideration to approve the following minutes. Minutes from the April 6, 2023 special board meeting.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Senior, seconded by trustee Shelby. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you, trustee Abraham. You have any questions or comments for the minutes?
No, no.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chalmalave? Trustee Chalmalave, you have any questions or comments for the minutes? Trustee Shelby, you have any questions or comments for the minutes?
No.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Miller?
I do. I sent an email regarding this actual special board meeting. I'm a little concerned about the communication and the way that it was shared. So I'm going to wait for the response for the email before I go into any further. But I just feel like it wasn't handled during the Open Meetings Act process.
Trustee Chalmalave, is that it, Trustee Miller?
Yeah.
Thank you. Trustee Chalmalave, you have any questions or comments for the minutes?
I do not, sorry, I had it on mute.
Okay, you're welcome. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Roll call, trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
No.
Trustee Miller.
No.
And Madam President, this carries 4-2. Thank you all. Next. Item 5, consideration to approve expenditures, grand total of all funds, $245,286.19 for the period ending 4/12/2023.
Motion to approve. Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Senior, seconded by trustee Abraham. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby, Finance Chairwoman of the Finance Committee, will you please read the warrant list?
Yes, this is the warrant list of April the 12th, 2023. The vendors, 3 Day Blinds LLC, $4,365.10. A-Lamp Concrete Contractors Incorporated, $49,070.80. Air One Equipment Incorporated, $13,611. Angelo Construction Services Incorporated, $36,000. AT&T, $10,000. B&F Construction Code Services, $3,646. Banker Tilly US LLP, $19,495. Ciobra Group, $17,617.18. College of DuPage, $9,392. ComEd, $4,332.68. Edward Hancock Engineering, $38,398. Harley and Abby McAllister, $2,707. Midwest Mechanical, $4,835. Russo's Power Equipment Incorporated, $3,427.39. Those are the total of expenditures over $2,500, which came to $216,897.15, which is 88% of total expenditures in the amount of $245,286.19. We also had some manual payments. The vendors was A&N Team LLC. The date was April the 7th, 2023. The check number 84337 for $100,000. We also had a payment for Simone's Catering. The date April the 4th, 2023. Check number 84336 in the amount of $750. And the total manual checks came to $100,750. We also had an electric payment, and the vendors was Chase Credit Card. The payments are reflecting as of March the 25th, 2023, in the amount of $8,172.40. Okay, the following funds that were affected were the general funds in the amount of $168,933.25. We had the CDBG fund in the amount of $3,000. The Roosevelt Road TIF fund in the amount of $17,200. The capital project funds in the amount of $49,070.80. And the water and sewage fund in the amount of $7,082.14, again for a grand total of $245,286.19. Madam Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
None.
Thank you, Trustee Senior.
No questions.
Trustee Child Malave.
No question.
Trustee Shelby.
No questions.
Trustee Armour.
No questions.
Thank you, Trustee Miller.
What engineering services does Ciabro Group provide versus Hancock Engineering?
You want to get to the mic?
Ciorba. Ciorba is the engineering firm that's doing the design for our bridge at 21st.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Child Malave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
No.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 5-1. Thank you all. Next, item 6, presentation. We have none this evening. Item 7, village officer reports, which are given at each second meeting of the month, starting with our building department. Commissioner David Upshaw.
So before Commissioner Upshaw come up tonight, you can still come. I just want to say I do apologize for not getting the department head's report to the clerk in a timely fashion. I've been out with my daughter on an emergency situation, so that's why you guys don't have the reports. I do have them, I just forgot to get them to the clerk to give to you all. So tomorrow when I'm back in the office, I'll make sure that the clerk get the department head reports so that you guys can have it, but the department heads are able to verbalize their report tonight.
And I'll
Thank you.
distribute them accordingly once I receive them. Thank you.
So thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, everyone in attendance. The Village of Broadview Building Department report is on file with the Mayor's office and the Clerk's office, with some of the highlights for the month of March are as follows. The Village Board, or at the Village of Broadview, are partnering with Cook County Bureau of Asset Management, and I anticipate 2412 South 9th Avenue, that is the building that is going to be demoed, to be completed within the next 30 to 45 days. I have all of the paperwork. I'm just waiting to receive the Cook County IGA. As we heard earlier from the gentleman, 1014 through 1020 Roosevelt Road, Housing Forward. The property, they did purchase the property and they have broken ground, and they've started on that project. Iron Workers, Local 63, 2525 Lexington, they are applying for permits for their training center. We anticipate that project to be at least $15 million. Helios, they're in phase 1 of their project. Between phase 1 and phase 2. Today they had a ribbon cutting ceremony here, I believe, for that company. And we look forward to their completion of their project too within the next upcoming year. Viola Village, located at 1516 Roosevelt Road, that is where the dispensary is going to be. That project is underway as well. The Red Door project is completed. I know that they are moving in furniture and getting ready to open soon. And we just completed lastly, we just completed the zoning process for Chick-fil-A, and you guys should be seeing that on the upcoming agenda for consideration in the Broadview Village Square Mall. And so those are just some of the highlights of some of the projects. It's about another 8 more that I'm working on, but those are some of the highlights.
Thank you, Commissioner Upshaw. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments for Commissioner Upshaw?
No, great job. A lot of movement going on. I do have one question for the Viola dispensary. Did they kind of set a date, or they're still?
Tentatively, it was supposed to be in May, but they're looking, because of supply chain issues, they're looking like June. Before June 2,
Okay,
they were saying.
that's it.
Thank you. Trustee Senior?
No questions, but I'm glad to see Broadview moving forward. Broadview strong, yay.
Trustee Chalmalave? Trustee Chalmalave?
I did it again. I apologize. I do not have any questions right now. It was a little difficult to hear, so I'll look forward to that report, and I will follow up with the commissioner if I do have any.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Shelby?
Thank you.
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
Oh, I just wanted to say, Commissioner, thank you so much for all your hard work that you do for our village. And I do have a question or so for you. Chick-fil-A, can you tell us, when do you anticipate them coming to our village?
I anticipate them coming within the next year or so, maybe year and a half. They have a very methodical process. They're going to be located in the mall where China Buffet is, and because that their Chick-fil-A is going to be unique to the Midwest, they're going to have two drive-throughs, which is outstanding in the village of Broadview. They're going to demo that the China Buffet, that whole
Yeah,
strip mall.
I know where
they're
that
going to demo that, and that's where they're going to build a brand new construction Chick-fil-A. So we're talking about a year and a half out, but we're going through. We just completed the zoning process, and they're starting to work on permits now, permit applications and plan reviews.
And what about Helios? What's the anticipated date for them?
About a year out.
Okay. These sound like really good establishments coming to our village, so thank you again for all of your hard work, and I just wanted to say I appreciate the time that you gave me this evening.
And not a problem, and just for the record, Trustee Armour and I did have a discussion. We're on the same page. Any temporary business licenses that I will issue, I will let her know prior to.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Trustee Miller?
Oh, I love when a plan comes together. 1014 to 1020 Roosevelt Road. So I had a few residents reach out. I know that we went through the zoning process in regards to that for Housing Forward, and I believe Eric came to speak tonight. But a couple of the concerns were, would we take any resident feedback or information with how they feel about it being next to the Travel Lodge? Did we kind of address that? So I just wanted to put it on the record, and if you want to talk to me about it, we can. But they wanted to know if there would be any type of community engagement for that before they actually open the door.
I can't answer that question now, but I'll be glad to speak to you
Yeah.
offline and share the information that I do have, as well as the contacts for Housing Forward.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was it.
Thank you, thank you, Commissioner Upshaw.
Thank you. Next, Finance Department, Budget Officer Tom Hood reporting for Finance Director Tim Hicks.
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
And trustees.
Good evening.
I just heard that you didn't get the report yet, so there's a couple things I wanted to touch on. I'm going to talk about that and then a budget-related item. The report that you will see shortly is very similar to the one last month as far as at the departmental level. But the one thing that no one has asked, surprisingly to me, is, wow, why do we have so much revenue this year compared to budget? And I was just looking at it before we came in here. We had almost $2 million more in sales tax than we budgeted for. Use tax is $1,034,000 more. The ambulance charges are another $2 million. And then there is, the replacement tax looks huge, but I'm looking at the number that's getting pulled in here, and I'm not quite sure. But forget about the replacement tax. Those other items are almost $5 million over the budget. Huge increases to prior years. Sales tax is basically a set percentage, and it's a reflection, one, of the increases in the prices of everything we buy. So as the prices are going up, we're getting more sales tax because we're getting a percentage of that price. But we are getting a lot more, and I'm thinking and got to figure out how to figure out what percentage is price related and what percentage is an increase in sales. When I was doing the budget, state income tax, PPRT, that all is forecasted to go up again. So that's making this year's budgeting process a little easier because we have more money coming in. The other thing that I pointed out, the ambulance charges of there's $2 million extra there, that is directly related to the fire department's aggressive pursuit of GMT and extra Medicare billing on our ambulances. There is a federal program that if we do all the paperwork, they pay more of for each ambulance call. So the fire department not only is doing a good job of getting out and doing the calls, they are doing a good job of finding every way they can to make more money off each call. And hopefully, we'll be able to keep that up in the future. Now, that's budget related. And if you have more questions once you review the report, I'll be glad to help you with those. The other thing that came up this week after the budget presentation, I had a couple trustees ask me about a new ambulance, which relates back to that revenue item. That equipment that we're providing for the fire department is providing substantial revenues into the village. And it was pointed out that there's nowhere to pay for the ambulance. But I want to turn your attention to page 9, where we have a transfer from the operating fund to the capital improvement fund of $448,000. That is the money for the ambulance and the public works equipment that you guys approved a meeting or two ago. What I didn't do is put it on page 13 in the capital fund. And the reason that we didn't put it there is since we began to do this, and Matt will speak to this later in the presentation, there is a lead time on this, and we might not have to pay that money this fiscal year. But as one of the trustees pointed out, it's probably for transparency reasons. I'm going to add that back in under the automotive equipment. I'm just going to put a hash in an ambulance to show that money authorized to be spent for the ambulance. In reality, we probably won't spend it this year, or we might have to spend a small portion as like a down payment to have this built. But we have the money this year, and we're going to move it from the general fund to the capital fund so that we have it next year. So remember, next year, if the ambulance is still there and you don't see me moving money in, that's because I moved it in this year. So we will have the money available when it's needed. Were there any other questions budget related?
No, but I will say this, with things that we moving, just so that the Board of Trustees can be reminded of when we transfer money, when you give your report, just keep that in mind as it relates to the money that's being transferred for that line item for the ambulance. So I don't get the emails or the phone calls saying, well, when did this happen? So just kind of when we get ready to do the transfer, just put it in your monthly report moving forward,
Right,
so that they can track it. Okay,
Will do.
thank you. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
None.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chalmalave?
No questions.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
I'm really grateful that Tom is here tonight because he actually sort of shed some light on how things move around in our village and with the accounting process. So I really appreciated your time. And I just want to make, or have the record, have it on record that this ambulance that we are proposing tonight, that we're subject to pay a portion in order to hold our place for it to be built. But I would really like to be able to know, the board should know if that payment, that partial payment has to be made and the amount of it. I do not recommend that we should pay the entire amount, and we don't have the equipment. We haven't not received the actual product or service. So that's important. And thank you for helping me with that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Trustee Armour. Trustee Miller?
I would like to feel that sales taxes didn't go up as much as they did, but seeing that I have a business, I kind of know they did, and I had to pay into that too. My concern about the sales taxes is if they were reported correctly on a business level. During COVID, it seems like there were a lot of taxes that were assessed on, like just a restaurant bill, where it was a COVID tax added on, or this tax added on that I don't know if it was approved necessarily because I'm not in finance. But I did see like a lot of extra taxes. So is that a part of, do you think that that may be a part of the reason why we realize so much extra in the sales tax portion?
Well, I'll first address the first part of that question. The village only has a 1% local tax. Everything else is the state, and what they've done. You know, I'm trying to think if they had any specific COVID-related increases, and I'm not sure that they did. But I will check into that for you. But the rates that are being charged to all of our businesses are pretty much set by the state, except for that 1% local tax that we have. And then the state collects all the taxes and distributes our portion back based upon our per capita ratio. So that's, again, I will say that is why the census is so important. When we do these censuses, then for the next 10 years, we get our population over the state's population times all these dollar amounts, and it determines how much money comes to the village. The census is very important in all of these state dispersed funds to us. Does that help?
To a degree, but if it's 1% of the taxes that are charged, like it was creative kind of taxing on how it happened. And I know because I saw a lot of changes in some receipts that it wouldn't have been 1% of whatever if they hadn't inflated the original tax amount. So
well, ours is 1% off of the actual sale, and it's been that way since I came here in 2009. I don't know what year it first started, but it hasn't changed at all.
I get that part for how we calculated it, so that we'll kind of get an estimate. Mm-hmm. But I'm figuring we could talk about it later because I don't want to bore everybody. But I think it might be a miscalculation on how retail was reporting.
Okay.
That's it, Trustee Miller?
Yes.
So I will add, as it relates to sales tax revenue, what's so prevalent when we look at sales tax and you look at the Department of Revenue, now that more people are shopping online, we capture the sales tax from the online sales, where many years ago we wasn't capturing that sales tax from the online sales. So like when you order from Amazon, they charge a tax, but the tax was going to where the corporation was based at, where now the sales tax actually come to the municipality where the actual sale took place. So when you order Amazon and you order from 60155, that sales tax come to that zip code. And so that's where the uptick of revenue uptick in revenue and sales tax came for the Village of Broadview is through our online sales. So the Department of Revenue have a system in place that only certain people have access to this data, only because we can look at data from like other municipalities and stuff like that. So the only people that have access to the data is Tom and myself, because it's and we have to sign off on this information for Department of Revenue. So when you see the uptick in sales tax, it's a lot of people are shopping more online than they are in the store. Mm-hmm. Now, as it relates to the COVID, like certain professions was able to charge a percentage or whatever for COVID-related things. But that had nothing to do with the sales tax. So when you look at the sales tax, you got to look at like all the information where we get our sales tax revenue. Also, when you look in our industrial corridor, that corridor in the industrial area is fully occupied. And a lot of those businesses charge sales tax. So we capturing all of that sales tax revenue because we have full capacity. We don't have any warehouses available for anybody to move into the Village of Broadview. So we capture the sales tax for the items that they sell, the goods and services that they sell, that's taxable. So when you look at the reports and sales tax, when I heard the numbers and I started looking at the data, I was like, well, now it makes sense. Because the village of Broadview, we are in a unique position because we have a third of our corporations is in industrial. But when we was in the pandemic, we were just, God got an eye on Broadview. We were so blessed because we have Home Depot, we have a Target, we had Aldi store, we had big boxes that a lot of communities didn't have. And a lot of communities lost a lot of revenue during the pandemic. Broadview was not one of them. So when you talk to our neighboring communities and stuff like that, then you can tell, how you looked at like hotel costs and those types of things during the pandemic. So we are fortunate in Broadview. So thank you, Officer Hood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Fire Department, Acting Chief Matt Martin.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees.
Good evening.
My report is on file, but I will touch on some highlights from the Fire Department. Our calls for service this past month, 53 at Loyola, 31 at Hines, and 1 at Madden. We ran a total of 300 calls for the month of March, which is about average for what the fire department does. We billed for $64,661 in EMS revenue. A couple of other notes to touch on. We are running another candidate test in May. Our list has been exhausted, meaning that there's no more candidates on the list to hire. We are short 1 at the moment. So we are going to run another test. That written exam will be May 6th, the first Saturday in May. I believe that's May 6th. And then oral interviews to follow, dependent on how many candidates pass that. Some other notes. For Safety Saturday, we had a very successful Safety Saturday in April. We ran a CPR class. We are now certified to teach CPR again. We have one instructor, and we plan on having a full complement of instructors moving forward so that we can host more CPR classes. But proud to say that we hosted our first Safety Saturday as a CPR class since I've been acting chief, and we had 25 people in attendance, which is a great number. All local folks from the community, which is great, and I had a chance to talk with many of them. They were very thankful and grateful for it. So I'm also very thankful and grateful that we're able to offer these programs to the community. So that is my report, some highlights on my report. While I'm up here, as you all know from Mr. Hood's report, we do have a resolution on for an ambulance tonight, so I can address that now while I'm up here if you'd like.
No,
And
we can
answer
wait
some
till we get
questions.
to the
We can do that
long
at the
range.
resolution? All right, very good. That's it.
Okay, Trustee Abraham, you have any questions for Chief Martin?
Yes, for the next CPR class, if you can please let me know, because I'd like to attend that.
Absolutely,
Brush back up on my CPR stuff. Thank you.
absolutely. I'll make sure to send it out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Senior.
Nice.
Trustee Child Malave.
No question.
Trustee Shelby.
No questions.
Trustee Armour.
Oh, your report was like really impactful today. It's just, those numbers are really increasing.
Yes.
As far as your service calls, so.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Miller.
No questions.
Thank you, Chief Martin.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, we have the Police Department, Chief Thomas Mills.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, residents, guests. My report is also on file in the mayor's office and the clerk's office, but I'll just touch on a few things that you can read about later. During the past month, we have seen increases in costs for service, 12.79% increase for Broadview, as well as a 19.9% increase for the Ike total for Broadview and Maywood. So that's expected as we get into the warmer months. During last month, we also continued our partnership with PLCCA and R3 with the Restore, Reinvest, Renew for Part 2 of the ceiling expungement options for those with criminal records that was in the Proviso Township. And we also opened it up to people in Chicago, whoever wanted to come. Like I said, Part 1, we had over 65 people. Part 2, which was the fingerprinting process, which is the big piece of it, 43 individuals were in attendance and came and had their prints. Not many from Broadview, which is a good thing, but it was good to allow anyone who wanted to try to improve themselves, we allowed them to come, and we did, like I said, we fingerprinted 43 individuals. The deputy chief and both lieutenants was on hand to answer questions, actually do the fingerprinting along with Sergeant Clayton. The big thing that's kind of happening now, if you have observed over the past few weekends, is we have these car caravans coming through all the municipalities, North Riverside, Maywood. They have come through Broadview. We've had to shut down the entrances at the Broadview Village Square a couple of weekends, very briefly. That will probably occur, unfortunately, throughout the summer in various places. They have went as far as Itasca, Schaumburg, Naperville, so it's not just a western suburb incident. They're just doing it all over. Of course, they leave from Chicago and go to various places. We are all on a unofficial task force with all the municipalities. Deputy Chief Smith and Lieutenant Yerkovich, and they stay in contact with all the other municipalities. So we all partner up every weekend and tag along. Like I said, because really what it is, they're not really violent. They just want to come out, and they tend to get violent if we try to take certain types of enforcement activities. So the best thing we try to do is just protect our residents. Let them just come on through the village and keep going. And if we can get them in, like I said, we've instructed our police here, get license plates, we'll do reports, and we'll go and tow the cars later versus initiating pursuits throughout the village where innocent people get hurt. But we've been very lucky, but just for the residents and, the trustees to know, this could probably occur, and that probably is still causing the increase in our calls for service. So, but we are on top of it, and I will keep everyone informed as these incidents occur. We are continuing to get our Ike 911 dispatchers certified. So we sent 3 to Crown Point, Indiana last month. They all passed. And we are still waiting on our in-house counselor from ProCare, but until then we have Amy Laverty, who's the supervisor. She's in here 2-3 days a week to help us. So we have not lost any progress in service to provide to our residents and our officers. So if you want to have any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief Mills. Trustee Abraham?
Yes, thank you, Chief, for talking about the activity with the cars. I know I brought it up to you at the last meeting and mentioned it, that I saw, our village square was blocked off, but I'm glad we have a plan in place. Obviously, people are gonna do something, so, and it's going on throughout other communities, so, like you say, it's a matter of time. If they come through here, at least we're prepared. I'm glad you have a plan of action for that, because it is kind of upsetting and disturbing. People can get hurt.
Yes.
So, we definitely want to make sure we maintain safety, so thank you for that, your team and your staff. That's it.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Senior?
Yeah, thank you guys. You're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Broadview Police is on top of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Child Malave?
I have no questions. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, ma'am.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions. Thank you, Chief.
Trustee Armour?
Thank you, Chief. No questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Trustee Miller.
Can we piggyback back on this whole meetup situation? So I know people that have like bike clubs and motorcycle clubs or whatever, motorcycle clubs. I think it's probably like heightening up with like the 3-wheelers and the, I don't know what those things are. Slingshots, thank you. Are we stating, that we're not allowing like big groups to meet up in parking lots, or we just want them to drive through and keep it moving?
No. So the group that I'm referring to, they are out for mischief. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing with the Chargers car clubs or the
Okay.
Slingshots and those people. Even motorcycles. No, not by any means. You can clearly tell the difference of the respectful clubs that meet at various places and they continue on. I know of a group of Corvettes, and they take pride in going to various towns to show off their cars.
Okay.
But rest assured, they're not going to waste $2,000 per tire doing donuts to impress anyone.
Okay, so we're
This
speaking
group-
more of
Yes, I'm referring
chaos.
to they want to create havoc and chaos throughout the village. They want to engage the police in chases, things like that.
Okay.
They want us to try to arrest them, and when we get out of our cars, they'll have people on the outside trying to cut our tires, spray paint our cars. So we've all the chiefs in the area, deputy chiefs. I know, like I said, deputy chief is phenomenal. He's on calls every day with these other municipalities and social media. So the clubs you're referring to, no, they're perfectly fine.
Okay, I was when you said you guys were tracking the license plates, I was like, wait, to do what?
No.
So I didn't know what type of meetups. I've seen the stuff on. I'm guessing everybody has the Ring Bell now, so I've seen the stuff on the Ring Bell and the Neighbor Watch app or whatever it is. But sometimes when I see stuff on there, it's kind of like, is that really what happened? Like somebody said, they closed the village square because they were shooting. And I was like, no, they weren't. I don't have time to police all the apps, but sometimes I try, like if I see something about Broadview that I know is inaccurate, I'll try to respond. But that one, I was like, wait, what? Well, what kind of club was it? So if it's for chaos, I strongly agree, yes.
No, they're very distinguished, but there will be no confusion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chief Mills.
Thank you. Next is the Public Works Department, Director Matt Ames.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees, everyone in attendance. Good evening. Public Works has its monthly report on file with the mayor's office and the clerk as well. So I will start by saying this Thursday we will begin our tree surveys throughout the village. And we also, within the next 30 days, will start the water leak survey. So that is to determine whether or not we have any water leaks underground, that we're losing water in our distribution system. We've also applied for the lead line survey grant, which allows funds to come through, obviously, in the grant form for us to get a more robust inventory of the lead lines. And we are also in conversations about how we're going to replace that. I believe I'm looking forward to the committee meeting with Trustee Senior and our finance team to make sure that we have a money or a route forward with that. So it is a mandate. It is a federal mandate. Also, Chief Mills and his command staff has been working alongside Public Works as we roll out this new parking enforcement, pay for parking in our municipal lots and also down our Roosevelt Road corridor. I am happy to report that today's session showed us that we are at least getting revenue out of one of the parking lots. So, but right now, it is not our intentions to enforce or to anything of that nature until we have everything up and running. We're still doing test runs. I know the command staff in Public Works is getting familiar with the backdoor Flowbird host of this service and some other things. So we're looking forward to maybe by the beginning of summer having everything finalized and up and full running to kind of go alongside all of the businesses that Commissioner Upshaw spoke about that will be coming online shortly. So I'm really excited about that. So also, we've had a couple accidents on Roosevelt Road that's caused some damage to some public property. So thankfully, reports have been made, and we have been going after the insurance providers for those motorists. I know that we're hopeful to put into the mayor's hand tomorrow for her trip down to Springfield report highlighting some disparities as it relates to some of the IDOT state routes that runs through the village of Broadview, and its lack of, or should I say, its disinvestment on our state roads. So we want to make sure that they're aware that we are expending our funds. We're doing everything that we can to make our pedestrians safe, but we need participation from the transportation sector. You should be happy because we do plan to resurface your street for sure. I believe it was a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Trustee Abraham hosted the Street Sidewalks and Alleys Committee meeting. We did point out exactly the streets that we had targeted this year. We thank the finance director, or should I say the finance team, for allocating the funds to be aggressive this year on the south side of Roosevelt Road. So 10th Avenue is slated to be resurfaced from Roosevelt Road to 18th Street, I believe, okay? And we will pick up some other additional streets in the, I'm sorry? 14th Street. So the good news is we're chipping away, you know, at the roads, and the good news is our life expectancy has more than doubled. So when you see us out doing the crack sealing, the road expectancy, as I've reported in the past, typically for an overlay or a resurface is about 7 to 10 years. And we've doubled that life expectancy. I know one of the roads that we addressed when we first came in office, about 2009, 2010, looks like it has another 4 or 5 years worth of wear on it. So we thank, if nothing else, the operations and some other things that prolong the life. So when the roads are resurfaced, we do expect them to hold up that much longer, and of course, that will allow the village to budget in cycles moving forward. So, and lastly, I want to remind everyone about an open house that's going to happen at the Proviso East High School, and that's going to be actually tomorrow, April the 18th from 5:30 to 7:30. I believe this has been posted on our website. And this is an open house connecting the Des Plaines River Trail. And I know for the last year or so, Broadview and Maywood, Forest Park, and North Riverside has been engaged with Civil Tech, which is an engineering group, to try and, if nothing else, make sure that we had easier and safer bikes and walk paths that connected from the Blue Line, and there is like a 2.5 mile gap from the Blue Line to the Des Plaines River Trail, and if you are interested to find out exactly how that's going to be laid out, please show up at Proviso East High School at 807 South 1st Avenue tomorrow night between 5:30 and 7:30, and they will inform you of exactly what the intent or the plan is moving forward. So that concludes my report, Mayor. I'll entertain questions or comments.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
Trustee Chalmalave?
No questions, thank you.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes, I just want to ask, in regards to her question, the repairs, do you have like a time frame or anything?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, at the next board meeting, hopefully the corporate authorities will approve the engineers agreement, okay, for design and construction, and we'll go out for bid, so as we always do. So once that's approved, we'll advertise it with the clerk's office, receive the sealed bids, and hopefully, somewhere in the middle of the summer, begin the project.
Thank you.
That's, okay. Oh. You and the raccoon, so.
Okay, that's all, thank you.
Trustee Arlen?
It sounds like you're doing these wonderful things, and the only thing I would want to say and encourage is like this meeting at Proviso Village Hall tomorrow. it would be great to have known this before, and I know that's part of my research too, by going to these different areas where we advertise things, but I didn't see it posted anywhere.
Let's double check that, because I know I forwarded it to the mayor's office and it was
we sent the
posted on the.
email blast to the community,
You're right,
and it was on
you're right.
social media as
Right,
well.
so,
Yeah,
so,
I know I'm missing stuff, so, but thank you. That's what my only encouragement would be.
That's it, Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Miller?
I know there was a storm that came through on the 4th, whatever it was. Was there any impact from that? Because I was at the Park District when I saw like stuff get blown off of their roof, and I did see a tree that was uprooted on 17. But was there any major impacts that Public Works had to deal with, and that maybe the village will be facing?
absolutely. But at this, yes, there were. We had quite a bit of tree damage. I do know that there was a lot of buildings along the Roosevelt Road corridor that had its roof blown off, and Commissioner Upshaw was made aware of that to contact the building owners and in that process to get it restored. And of course we did. We had quite a bit of cleanup. So the good news is as long as the storms are coming through, it's making our work somewhat easy in terms of removing some of the older and dead trees. So we just have to be mindful, and I'm looking forward to the survey to help us identify some of the healthy ones and also some locations for new plantings. So we are going to be aggressive in trying to restore the trees that we've lost over the last couple of years during these storm damage.
Okay, so I was gonna ask about that too. So I know that during a previous storm, we had a lot of trees that were damaged, and the attempt to repot or replant them, even in front of my house and on our block, it was told we couldn't have new trees because of the current roots that were in there from the previous trees. So is there, I'm all for nature, even though I don't like bugs or raccoons. I do still want the trees because it does help with cooling. So if there's roots or something going on in the parkway, are we addressing how we can get those up and still have the new trees planted?
Well, photosynthesis is very important. As a matter of fact, we do intend to work with Davie Tree Service when they come out to do the surveys to identify legitimate sites. And we will take the recommendations that are provided to be aggressive in our tree planting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Before you leave the podium, she had the question about the raccoon. So in the Public Works Department, can you tell her about the traps, but also know that on private property, we can loan you the trap, but you are responsible if you catch a raccoon or whatever you catch it, you are responsible for removing it. And so you can call Public Works and ask for a trap to do that.
That is correct.
And we can't kill them, right?
I don't have nothing to do with that. And so, and then for the homeowners that don't want, like me, that's just not my thing to do that work. So we do have in the building department where we partner with ABC Wildlife or something like that, so they'll come out, but it's expensive.
It's a charge for it, yeah.
No, you're a taxpayer, we'll provide it to you for free.
But we want the trap back.
Absolutely.
Empty.
Empty. No, ma'am, empty.
Empty.
Thank you, Director. All right.
Thank you. Next is Administrative Department, Village Administrator Latisa Jones.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees.
Good evening.
My report as well is on file at the mayor's office and also the clerk's office. Just a couple of highlights. I want to publicly thank the department heads for assisting with our open enrollment for our healthcare for our entire staff. I do appreciate it. Thank you all for assisting. We're in open enrollment, so of where our new healthcare will start May 1 for our fiscal budget year. So I do appreciate all of you all. Another thing, we have a lot going on when it comes to employment, and I'll just publicly thank Trustee Miller for sending me the email in reference to this. And back in February of 2023, we had posted for building code enforcement, full-time and part-time, building admin clerk, part-time and full-time. We had 1 resignation. In March, we had a posting for a part-time records clerk. We had 2 resignations. We had interviews for part-time, full-time code enforcement officer, and also for part-time and full-time admin clerk. We also hired, in the month of March, a full-time code enforcement officer and a part-time admin clerk. In the month of April, that we're currently in now, we are putting up a new posting for a part-time building code enforcer, also a full-time and part-time admin clerk. And I'm happy to announce that we had a part-time cashier who was transferred to the police department. So she is now the full-time admin clerk in the police department. So thank you for that. Also, we are starting our interviews for our records clerk. We're looking for a part-time records clerk in the police department. And we're starting with our public works. Also, we're looking for seasonal workers. So we have had a lot of inquiries about that, young people. And I'm happy to announce that thanks to the mayor and also the trustees, that we're going to look for summer youth again internship, and we're looking for 20 this year. So yeah, we bumped it up from 15 to 20, so I do appreciate the mayor and also the board. And then of where I thank the staff totally, and thank you, Mayor, for allowing us this. We went through our insurance company, which is IPMG, and of where we have the annual sexual harassment and also cyber training. So of where every year we will get that alert for us to do it collectively as a whole village. So I do appreciate the empowerment that the mayor has given myself and also the department heads to get that done. So I can officially say that all the whole staff in every 5 departments are up to code. So thank you for that. Lastly, on my report, and I just want to give highlight to, is that I had a brief meeting with Trustee Armour. I do appreciate you stopping off at my office, Trustee. She had a couple questions in reference to our budget officer and also our finance director, and where she did send an email to the mayor. So back for our current budget, which is May 1 of 2022 through April 30th of 2023, our budget officer, of where it was Mr. Hood, and then our finance director, which was Mr. Hicks, they were part-time. And then going forward in our new fiscal year, which will be 2023, May 1 through April 30th of 2024, our budget officer and treasurer part-time will be Mr. Hicks, and our full-time finance director will be Mr. Hood. So, Mayor, I know you'll go more in depth in your report, but I do appreciate everything that you have given and also the trustees. That ends my report.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chalmalave?
No questions, thank you.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
What are the ages for the summer youth that could apply?
Thank you for asking. For the summer youth interns, it's 13 to 15.
Oh, thank you.
Trustee Miller?
Thank you for giving me the information about the current employment and employee status for what's going on in the village. Would candidates that applied previously before the job posting was closed, would they be considered, or would they have to reapply?
No, they will reapply.
Okay.
And their suggestions were, just so you know, anytime we do interview, and if the posting or the position that they're applying for doesn't fit the criteria, we do suggest other positions that we may have available in the future. So
But
we
if
do
it
do
does
that.
fit and they weren't selected, they have to still reapply?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. That was it.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all, department heads. Next is item 8, old business. We have none this evening. Bringing us to item 9, new business. A, an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 1, Section 6-1-1 to increase the number of police lieutenants from 2 to 3 for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Miller, seconded by trustee Shelby. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. Chief Mills, you want to tell us about this request?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, trustees. So, I've been here now 18 months, and I am having the time of my life serving the residents and stakeholders in the business community of the Village of Broadview. One of my goals when coming to the Village of Broadview and being interviewed by everyone and going through that whole process is I wanted to bring a more style of policing where we're transparent and, you know, I want to be held accountable, our professionalism to the residents and everyone, as well as respect. And as we have moved forward in that process, some of the research the Deputy Chief and I have come to realize that in order to have total accountability, policing is a 24-hour job, unlike a lot of other occupations. Our officers out here all day, every day, 7 days a week. And even though right now, currently, they work 12-hour shifts, but really, policing is 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. So when you look at accountability starts at the top, just like the mayor and all of you always, same thing with me and the deputy chief. What I would like to have changed in the Title VI code, where it's been listed as 2 lieutenants, 4 sergeants, I would like to add, when we currently have 5 sergeants, but I would like to add 1 lieutenant and just keep the 4. That way I can have a lieutenant on every 8-hour shift. And that would help with decision-making, training, because we have become a young department as well. When I came here, we lost a lot of experienced officers, and when that happens, you lose a lot of institutional knowledge that you can't replace, you know, by sending anyone to any school. But we still have some, like both of our lieutenants, Yurkovich and Acom, they are very good at what they do. They have a lot of institutional knowledge, but me keeping them inside really does not help bolster with training and mentoring of our new sergeants. So to add the extra lieutenant, it will provide the Broadview Police Department and the village to have a lieutenant responsible each shift, 8 hours a day. And as we go into the summer with these car clubs and everything, they're at home and they do a great job. Let me just say this, the 2 that I have. And I have Sergeant Clayton in the Detective Division who works probably harder than any of us. They're constantly having information, but I think going into the summer, we need to have a lieutenant in the building every day of the week. So even if 2 lieutenants are off, we still have 1 lieutenant at some point. So we'll all be staggered. They will all be staggered in various day-off groups. Of course, the deputy chief and I, we're in and out of here 7 days a week as it is. But I want to, in order to have that total accountability and transparency to the village, I would like to add a 3rd lieutenant to the roles of the Broadview Police Department.
Thank you, Chief Mills. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comment?
None.
Trustee Senior?
Not have any questions.
Trustee Chalmalave?
Thank you, Chief. No questions.
Trustee Shelby?
And no questions.
Trustee Armour?
I'll do a sidebar with the chief.
Yes, ma'am.
I need a sidebar here.
Okay. Trustee Miller?
No questions.
Mr. Clerk?
Okay, we'll take a roll call, please. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And this carries, Madam President, 6-0. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, item B, an ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 8, regarding creating the Office of Finance Director for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President.
So, the finance team has since I've been in office since 2017, has been functioning as a part-time department. And as we move forward with all of the grant funding that we are receiving, we need someone full-time to help manage the budgetary things for audit purposes and to keep us transparent and accountable to the funding that we receive. Since 2017, since I've been in office, we've received over $12 million in grants. And it's become very taxing for a part-time staff and even myself now that I'm getting more busier on how we delegate and move things around to make sure that we're transparent in our financial reporting. What was shocking to me is because I didn't know that this position never was created in the village of Broadview for a finance director. We've always functioned with having a finance director, but on our ordinance and in our rules, we never had that position created. So this is to create the finance director position, and having Tom come on full-time as a finance director where he can be here all day, every day to interact with the department heads and participate. When we have our department head meetings, the finance team are always on call, you know, in the conversation when we have in our meetings, but to have a finance person here on staff all day with the team, that's a huge plus for us. And so Tom is going in another direction. He's worked for the state for I don't know how many years, but a very long time. He's a certified CPA. I do have his resume, but again, I got to get that to you all too. I knew I was supposed to get that to the trustees.
It's in the packet.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay. So much stuff done happened in 10 days. So, but thank you. And so his resume, the trustees have a copy of his resume. I think he's highly qualified and very competent to do this role. He served for the village of Broadview as a budget officer and the treasurer for all of the years that he's been with the village. But it's time for us to make decisions as we look at the type of funding and where we are financially as it relates to all of the moving parts as it relates to being fiscal responsible. This will include a full-time salary at $120,000 per year. Tom has decided not to take medical benefits with this package, but he will still be able to participate with IMRF. So this is the ordinance creating the office of the finance director and to move our finance department forward in the right way, in a fiscal responsible way as well. And so that's all that I have. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
No.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Child-Malave?
No questions.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Miller?
That's weird that we didn't have an ordinance for that, and we've had multiple finance directors. Like, I've known two prior to this ordinance. So that's weird, but no questions, no.
Trustee, when I brought it up to discussion to do this, I thought the same thing, like, how was that possible?
Yeah, that's strange.
So, but,
Crazy.
but when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Child-Malave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 6-0. Thank you all. Next, item C, a resolution appointing Thomas Hood to the Office of Finance Director for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by, who was the second? Trustee Shelby. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. So we've already went through the formalities. This is just to appoint him to the office. This appointment would take place May 1st when we go into our new budget year. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
No.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Child-Malave?
No questions.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
What would be the part-time salary for the current finance director?
We won't have that. We'll have a full-time.
The current finance director is,
Oh, you want to know what the salary is currently?
yes,
It's $70,000.
okay. And then the part-time salary for the budget officer effective May 1, how much would that be?
We're not on that line item yet. We are approving for the finance director
Oh, am I
appointment.
ahead on the agenda? My bad.
You have any questions or comments as it relates to the appointment of the finance director?
Oh, no questions.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's effective May 1, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Miller?
Let me just say that I'm happy for this. Prior, I was concerned because I was like, why isn't Tom doing the finance director role? So, no shade. If it's taken, I don't care. But I'm happy that Tom is getting promoted or switching over. So that part I'm happy with. No questions.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And this carries, Madam President, 6-0. Thank you all. Next, item D, a resolution appointing Timothy Hicks of the South Central Capital Group LLC as Budget Officer for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President.
Thank you. So, with this, is flip-flopping the roles as it relates to a finance director and a budget officer. So when I had discussions with, Mr. Hicks and Mr. Hood as it relates to swapping the roles, just knowing, people's strong suits. Tim's strong suit is more on the budget and the treasurer side of things because he has excellent relationships with the banking industry. I mean, it's just amazing on how the relationships have been created to help us do more community initiatives with the banking partners that we have. And to Trustee Armour's point, as he will be part-time, because that's a part-time position, we don't need that person to be here full-time because they managing how we transfer money into the different funds and how we account for the budget and those types of things. And I think he does a pretty good job. And I will concur with you, Trustee Miller, as it relates to the flip-flop. Tom has been very vested into the finances of the village, so he just got that institutional knowledge on a lot of different things, and so we're grateful for that leadership. As it relates to the part-time salary, I don't have the budget in front of me, but it's the same salary that we was paying the budget officer in the previous year. So if you got a copy of the budget in front of you, Trustee Armour, you'll be able to see that, what the cost is for the budget officer and the treasurer. Do you have it, the budget? Can you give us what the numbers are? Can you go to the mic so that we can make? Okay. So it's about like close to 30,000 for part-time.
Should be 29,570.
Yeah, 19,570 for the budget officer and 10 for the treasurer, so it'd be 19,570.
Okay, and so that's what the salary would be for that part-time position.
Effective May 1, right?
Effective May 1, yes. All the changes as it relates to the finance department is effective May 1.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chamalave?
No question.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
Got my questions answered. Thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Miller?
No question.
Mr. Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 6-0. Thank you all. Next item E, a resolution authorizing and approving expenses related to attendance at the Illinois Municipal League Lobby Day in Springfield for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Miller. Madam President.
Thank you. So this is allow me to do IML Lobby Day, which will take place tomorrow. And I don't know why I just now got it on the agenda, but nevertheless, I do sit on the board of directors for IML. I'm required by having that appointed seat on that board to be at the different meetings that they host throughout the calendar year. So I'll be in Springfield from tomorrow until the 21st, lobbying on different things that impact the Village of Broadview. I do have meetings scheduled with our state legislators on some concerns that we have in the Village of Broadview. This is about $600 for the hotel accommodations, travel, meals, and incidentals to be reimbursed based on the policy, and this is actually in our budget. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chamalave?
No question.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Miller?
I know we have a lobbyist.
No, we don't.
No.
We don't have a lobbyist anymore?
Nope. We haven't had a lobbyist in about maybe 2 or 3 years.
Good, okay. That was my question, was he gonna be there in attendance too? But, so you're gonna be there solely acting on the behalf of your other role on the board and for the village too?
I always advocate for village first.
Okay, long as that's forefront. Okay, I just didn't, I wanted to see how the separation was there. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
We'll take a roll call. Thank you, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 6-0. Thank you all. Next is item F, a resolution authorizing and approving expenses related to attendance at the West Central Municipal Conference event in Springfield, Illinois, for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Senior, Madam President. And let me just state for the record, trustees, there was a revision to this resolution sent out to you in an email that basically adds one of the attendees being Trustee Chamalave to that resolution for the record. All right, Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. So this is for the ride down to Springfield. Because I am the sitting president for the WCMC, I am required to be in Springfield the week after. And so I had invited all of the trustees that want to participate in these activities. Trustee Chamalave tried to get in for lobby day, but we couldn't get hotel accommodations for her, so she's going to go on the drive down to Springfield with me on May 2nd. And so we do have some scheduled meetings with the governor and some of our other state officials and some of the leadership in the different committees that we have as it relates to some concerns that we have with the Village of Broadview, as well as some of the other municipalities. As I don't know, many people don't know this, but I am the sitting president for the West Central Municipal League, and I have 46 municipalities, well over about 180,000 residents. So we take all of our issues and our legislative agenda down to Springfield and have these conversations with the stakeholders, with the different senators and the representatives that represent the multiple municipalities in their district. So it'll be a one-day event. We'll go down, have these discussions. I'm happy that Trustee Chamalave is able to participate because she get to see what we lobby for as it relates to legislation and policy. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
No, none.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chamalave?
No.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Miller?
No questions.
Thank you. And just for the record, this is about an expense of $250 per person for accommodations. Mr. Clerk?
Okay, we'll have a roll call, please. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 6-0. Thank you all. Next, item G, a resolution authorizing and approving a quote from Osage Ambulance for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President.
Thank you. Chief Martin, you want to tell us about this purchase?
Yes, so I know that this is a daunting number. The Broadview Fire Department currently has 2 operating ambulances right now. One is a 2012, which is 11 years old. The other one is a 2018 Osage, which is 5 years old, which is our frontline ambulance. That frontline ambulance is approaching 60,000 miles, which is actually pretty high for only 5 years of use, given the size of our community. But given in my report, when I mentioned the monthly reports, just to give the board an idea of what we're doing as far as call volume. In 2022, we ran 3,530 calls annually. 66.9% of those calls were EMS-related calls. So this ambulance is the workhorse vehicle of our fire department. It takes the most abuse, it's out the most frequently, and the normal lifespan of an ambulance is 5 years frontline, 5 years in reserve. So right now we're at 5 years, where a year ago when I started, my goal was to focus on 2 big things: training our firefighters so the community has the best firefighters in the area, and equipping them with the best and safest equipment possible for our residents. This would meet that. So the challenge that we have with purchasing any fire apparatus right now, and I know Trustee Armour, you had sent an email asking about the funds for this, but I just want to address the first part of that, which is the time that it's taking now for fire apparatus to be built. It's averaging about 24 months for ambulances and between 24 and 36 months for fire engines and trucks. So we're faced with some challenges in waiting to get these vehicles. The goal is to get our spot in line locked in and lock in a price now, so that we don't incur, one, higher costs, and two, have to wait any longer based on any further possible supply chain issues that we're already facing. So with that said, if we are able to lock this in today or tonight with this resolution, we would get our spot in line with Osage Ambulance. One other thing to touch on with that, our 2018 is the exact same ambulance. We are ordering an identical model. And the reason that that's really good is because we're going to get the very same type of ambulance, just obviously with newer upgrades. All the cabinets are going to be in the same place. All the equipment's going to be in the same place. The front cab's going to be the same size. The chassis is going to be the same size. It's minimal training. Both ambulances can operate with continuity, where our firefighters can switch from one to the other without ever having to worry about, in a stressful point, when they have to grab a piece of equipment, muscle memory is going to take them right where it's at because it's going to be in the same place on both. We currently don't have that right now. So moving forward, this is part of that plan to mirror all the ambulances the same way. So I open it to any questions you might have.
Thank you. So just for the record, the cost of this ambulance is about $278,534?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
No, I do have one question. When we get the new one, are we still going to be using the older one?
Yes.
So they're both going to be in service?
They will. So the 2018, when we take delivery of the new one, which will be a 2025 because of the time frame it takes,
For that year, I was going to ask you.
that's what they're building. They're not building a 2023. They're gonna build us a 2025. It's in the quote. The quote does state that it's a 2025 Osage. This is also the same vendor that we purchased from in the past, so we're getting the exact same one. When we get that, our front line will then be 7 years, so we're 2 years behind on when, in national best practice, we would want to put it in reserve, but I think we're going to be okay. We've taken very good care of it. We've maintained it very well. I feel comfortable with this time frame. I don't like that it takes 2 years, but we have no control over that. When that comes, we will put the other ambulance in reserve, and then we will decommission the one that will then be 13 years old and try and sell it.
So the timeline, we're gonna kind of be right on track with replacement.
Once we get this one in 2025, when we move forward, we're gonna move forward with a 5 and 5 plan. So in preparation for that, on the budget side, we would be looking to re-chassis our other one. That's the other part of that. Do you want me to go, can I go into that a little, just briefly?
Yeah.
So the other reason we're getting the same two ambulances together is because when we get the next one, we're able to take the box of the ambulance off, and all we have to buy is the cab and the chassis frame and put the box back on it. It's gonna save us about 40 to 60% moving forward, and then we recirculate that way over time. It's a more cost-efficient way. So I wish we could do that now, but we have to have one more in place so that we can kind of leapfrog the ambulances.
No, I get
So,
you. I mean, you obviously got a plan to
And-
replace, we keep something in service, and we don't lose out on any services that you're gonna be giving to the village for anybody.
Yes.
So I appreciate that thought out, long process. So I'm good with that.
Thank you, Trustee Senior.
You answered my question.
thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Chalmalave.
Sorry, I'm here again. Thank you, Chief. I read your report, and I appreciate, you horizon scanning on what the needs are gonna be in supply chain issues, because as you see, we have like a 10% annual increase in services between Hines and Loyola and things like that, is what I read. So, thank you, for the report. I think it's, definitely, good to be in position for that time.
Thank you. And if I could touch on one more thing with that being said, actually two, sorry, that I just thought of. Yes, we are running EMS agreements with Loyola and Hines, which are increasing, but they're also a big source of our revenue streams. We want to maintain that agreement with the highest level of service. And so with that said, that equipment comes along with that, providing our paramedics with that ability. The other thing that I didn't mention, and I apologize, the other part of Trustee Armour's email was that we won't have to pay for this ambulance until we take delivery. So this isn't a purchase that we make now, it's a purchase that we make when we take delivery of the ambulance.
Yep. Thank you. Any more questions, Trustee Chalmalave?
No, thank you, good job.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby.
No questions. Everything was answered for me. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Trustee Armour.
I thought your presentation was one of the best presentations I've seen when it comes to a large item like this for purchase. I understand everything perfectly.
Thank you.
My concern is, and Tom Hood touched on it, he actually explained where the money is gonna be coming from. And my concern is paying that full amount, okay, just for a placeholder. If we can negotiate a partial amount, that would make me feel so much better, knowing that we are not paying for a piece of equipment that we have not acquired.
Oh.
We don't have receipt of.
Yes,
That's
we
what
won't.
concerns. Well, but that is my concern still.
Okay.
So I just want the record, I just want everyone to know what my concern is about paying for something so large and we don't have our hands on it. And so, that's what my concern is. And, I like the idea of, I don't like the idea that we have to pay a portion, and I'm speaking that into existence when I say portion, because I don't like the idea of paying for something this big fully like that. And I want the fire department to have all of what it needs to do its job. I'm not against any of that, but that's what my concern is. I don't like the idea is every year going to, well, not every year, but when we get ready to purchase the second one, 2018 style, are we gonna have to get a placeholder for that and, put money up for that? Or is this type of system is gonna continue where we do that? So that's what my concern is.
Thank you, Trustee Armour. Is that it?
Well, I would like for him to answer the question.
You said you had a concern, it wasn't a question. You didn't ask a question. You know that your concerns. Do that conclude your concerns?
Yes, but I would like
Thank you, Trustee Miller.
for him to respond.
Trustee Miller?
Okay, maybe this is one for the mayor or the attorney to answer. The purpose of the quote versus us having a purchase order, what's the difference here with this?
So the purpose of us doing it through legislation is because that's what the vendor required us to do, to put it on, so saying that the board approved for us to do it. So when they get the documentation to place the order, then they will send us the quote to put a purchase order together for the purchase to take place. But we don't actually make the purchase until we take delivery. So the purchase order may take place in December. But they have to have a commitment from us to place the order, to hold this price in for today's cost.
So it will come back before the board for us to actually make the purchase?
Exactly.
Okay.
But we have to do this for the satisfaction of the company so that they can place the order. So I would just encourage the Board of Trustees to call other fire departments or watch other village board meetings as it relates to these types of issues because I've had like long, extensive conversation with the with the fire department as it relates to how we replace ambulance and the fire engines and those types of things because I didn't understand it either, like, the 2-year lap. But when I started talking to the other mayors and how they order fire equipment, and it's just in the fire department that it's like a 2-year waiting list, and it's not just in the state of Illinois, it's across the nation that this delay is taking place. And I've asked for, when I was in Washington, D.C., when I was speaking to some of the leadership in D.C., I asked them, could they put something in a policy to mandate these companies to make this equipment available? But the equipment is so expensive that a lot of municipalities can't afford it. And we've been kicking this can down the road for so long as it relates to replacing the fire engine. And I just vividly remember, like, when we was talking about replacing squad cars in the village of Broadview because they was aging and the miles that the officers put on the squad cars. And so Chief Euglin, who was the chief at the time, he put a plan in place to rotate the cars out. So every so often, that's why we get POs to purchase new vehicles for the police. So if I asked the fire department, I asked Chief Martin to do the same thing, to put a capital plan together. So when we have to make these large purchases, we can make sound decisions based off our finances, based off contracts that we have with Hines and Loyola and all of the other amenities that we have to be able to make the purchases that we need, because we, the residents, deserve to have functional equipment when they're out in the field, and it's our obligation to make sure that the public is safe and that we can address medical concerns in a timely fashion. And so, Trustee Miller, if you call a police and fire committee meeting, I would like to see that conversation take place, like the response time for EMS to get to a resident that may be, experiencing some trauma. Because I think if we educated on the response time of fire equipment and how we look at all of this thing, the residents will be very knowledgeable on what that looks like for us. But I do, again, encourage the Board of Trustees to look at other board meetings or call other fire departments to see, how they handle these types of things. I know Hillside just made some purchases, but they got a grant from a federal grant, and I can truly say this, Chief Kenny did an excellent job entertaining grants. We brought in a grant writer to get grant funding. Hillside just got a grant to replace some of their fire engines, and so it's just a process. And sometimes even when we have the purchase of these big ticket items, sometimes when we apply for the grant, if we don't have things in place, we can't even get the funding to do that. So it could be, we spending this $238,000, but we may be able to get a grant where we don't even have to use that, but we got to have things in place. So we can't rely on the grant funding, because if the grant has got a timeline on it for us to expend, guess what? We will lose the funding because we don't have the equipment. So it's just decisions that we have to make, and sometimes it's hard to articulate that.
Okay. So, yeah, thanks for your recommendation about us attending or watching other board meetings or whatever. That's probably not going to happen on a regular basis, because this doesn't happen on a regular basis. So some stuff, we're going to ask the question regardless of what another municipality is doing, and I try to be as quick as possible with my question, because I don't want to delay us as a resident. I want to go home too. But even outside of that, I think it's just knowing. I just wanted to know the difference with us doing it now as a quote versus it being a purchase order later, and just to make sure that it will help, I guess, especially with Trustee Armour, knowing that it still has to come back up for approval for us to approve it again. So that's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, my comment was a recommendation, not enforcing or anything.
Yeah.
It was just a recommendation. Thank you,
Cool.
Chief Martin.
If I may, can I state one more thing, two more things, quick. One, this is going to help us maintain our ISO rating, and just to put the board at ease on the process, this 2-year process, there will be repeated checks. So we hold the vendor accountable. So we go and do site visits to check on this ambulance periodically for a midway check and then final checks before, to make sure it meets our specifications before that payment's made. And we do have 4 grants out this year. So we're trying. We are trying. Thank you.
What's the total of the 4 grants? Do you happen to know, just right off the top? And approximately, it doesn't have to be exact.
Of all 4?
Yeah.
We have a regional grant out right now for radios for 3.1 million. That's a combined 9 departments. We have one AFG grant for an engine. That's 960,000. Might be 970. I can't remember offhand. And a safer grant for 2 additional firefighters for approximately the salary of 2 firefighters. I can't quote that right now. I'd have to look. I could do a sidebar with you on that.
Okay, let's do a
Get you the
sidebar.
number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
and then we have a smaller ComEd grant
That's
out there
fine.
for small equipment.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Martin.
I have one question.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, before
Sure.
we vote, is number one, I think us on the board, and I appreciate your time and energy of putting this together to get this 2025 vehicle.
Thank you.
Is, you know what, our community's changing. You know, obviously, we have older citizens, you guys are getting busier, we're having a lot more pass-through of vehicles through our community for potential accidents and situations. So I think us planning ahead and looking toward the future, I think this is the best thing that they've put together. So I truly support this and the fire department to be at their top and to represent us. So if they need equipment, I'm for it. Because it's our safety and it's our community, so we need to take care of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you, Chief Martin.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark?
Do Trustee Miller ask?
I was just waiting to see if she had a question. I didn't know it was just a comment.
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
And this carries, Madam President, 6-0. Thank you all. Next, item H. Consideration of an application for a business license requested by Full Nails and More at 1723-25 West Roosevelt Avenue in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President.
Thank you. Commissioner Upshaw, will you tell us about this business?
Yeah, Full Nails and More it used to be Full Nails, and it is still, or will be located still at 1723 through 1725 Roosevelt Road. At the end of 2022, Full Nails closed to have the property totally renovated. After an inspection, we found that there were leaks and that the property itself was just old. The owners decided to close it at the end of 2022 and do a total renovation. They submitted plans. They were approved. We pulled permits. Final inspections were done and completed. And now they're ready to reopen. And all they did, they will be providing the same services that they did prior to closing. And they just changed the name to Full Nails and More.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
No, I'm glad they're making upgrades to the property.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chalmalave?
No question.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions, I got my questions answered.
Trustee Miller?
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 6-0. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before you go to the next agenda item, go ahead. I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. Next, item 10, application for the authority to expend funds. We have none. Item 11, village clerk's report. I don't have anything pending, so we'll go to item 12. Actually, I take that back. Let me go back. Trustees, just for the record, I want you to know that for the year 2022, all of our ordinances have been codified and are on the site. I'm working towards getting the first quarter of 2023 in, so we don't have that much that's outstanding, and I will report further on that for you when that time comes. So that concludes my report, Madam President. Item 12, Village President Report, Mayor Katrina Thompson.
Thank you, and good evening to the residents and the board. So a couple of things that I want to address. Our regular board meetings are on the first and third Monday of every month. and we start at 7:30. So the past two meetings, and I'm gonna start with March 20th. We were prepared to have a board meeting on March 20th, and I got several calls from a couple of trustees that told me that they weren't gonna be in attendance due to a couple had death in the family or some illness, and as the day progressed, we started getting cancellations. The last cancellation I got right at the beginning at 7 o'clock. And we didn't know until it was close to 7:30 to start that meeting. So we had visitors here that wanted to make public comment, and we were prepared, and there was only one trustee here for a board meeting. So when the trustees don't notify the clerk if they're attending or not, that's problematic because we can make decisions early on in the day. Fast forward on Monday, April 3rd, we started getting calls, I started getting text messages of trustees saying that they wasn't gonna be at the board meeting. So I immediately went to the clerk and said, let's schedule a special board meeting. We'll get the information out to the trustees and those that show up for the special board meeting. We did a Zoom call because we had some illness calling out because they said they sick or their children was sick. And actually on Monday evening, I wasn't feeling 100%. So at about 2 o'clock, I notified the clerk to get an email out to the trustees that, to send out a email to the trustees asking them to confirm their attendance. I don't know how many responded to that email.
Can I add to that?
Yep.
You actually asked me a little bit earlier than that to send out an email to see if we had attendance. And when I didn't receive anything by 2 p.m., which is when I was leaving, I informed you that I had not received or what I did receive.
And so because we didn't get the proper notification to conduct the official business of the village, I canceled the board meeting and rescheduled it for a special board meeting that was held 48 hours later. So that's why we had to reschedule and cancel a board meeting. So if we're here ready, prepared to handle the business of the district, I would expect the Board of Trustees to give notification to the clerk's office so that we can gauge and kind of know, what we up against. I think it's unfair and unprofessional that we get cancellations at the last minute and then you got people coming to a board meeting. You got our department head staff worked all day. I work all day. The clerk is here until a certain time throughout the day, and I know that particular meeting, the very next day, he was an election judge. So we had to make decisions quickly to accommodate the clerk's schedule to be prepared on what's coming before because he's an election judge on election day. Helios Labs, we're super excited about them being in town. They actually did a ribbon cutting ceremony here, and when I got the notification for their ribbon concert, I was like, well, why are we not doing it at your site? And so I wanted to just share with the public the reason why we didn't have the ribbon cutting at their site is because of some security mechanisms that they have with cultivation and stuff. And so they wanted to protect the integrity of that. On Monday, April 24th at 2 p.m., Housing Forward will have a groundbreaking celebration. And I was surprised Eric didn't mention that when it's public comment, but it's okay. But it's a groundbreaking ceremony on April 24th at 2 o'clock at the site where they're gonna break ground to develop this 16-unit apartment complex that's gonna house either veterans or young adults with families aging out of DCFS. So I'm really excited about that because we have to be proactive to end homelessness. And that's just part of it. And I'm really excited about this site because it allows those that may not have transportation access to public transportation so they can get to and from work or whatever they're going to have. And on this particular site, they're going to have wraparound services to help those that's residents there to be able to get the services that they need to get gainful employment, health initiatives that they may roll out. But I know Housing Forward want to be a true champion and a partner with the Village of Broadview. And so we're going to make sure that we can do this bless you. We're going to do this in an appropriate manner as it relates to how we look at homelessness in the community. It's not saying homelessness is coming to the community, but it's to help people. And many of you may be aware, or you may not even be aware of the mortgage crisis that we had to deal with during the pandemic. Many people lost housing. And so this would give those folks the opportunity, and it's not a long time permanent situation. It's a temporary situation, so we can help them get back on their feet to get solid housing that they may need. And if they have gainful employment, maybe they may want to purchase a house in the Village of Broadview. So it's people that may have gotten evicted and they have to have somewhere to go. So I know sometimes when we say homeless, it's a stigma on that. but we have to embrace humanity when it's talking about homelessness and putting food on the table, because without doubt or contradiction, many of us that's in this room, we one paycheck away from being evicted or not being able to afford the place that we live in today. Sometime this month, I don't know when, but I'm being recognized by Active Transportation for the Public Leadership Award. And so when I got the notification of this award being submitted to me by Active Transportation, I was really shocked, because I just do the work. I just see what the needs are, and I just do the work as it relates to policy and how we look at legislation and how we impact communities that have disadvantages. And Broadview has been one of those communities that's been disadvantaged as you look at transportation. You know, we don't have safe passageways on our sidewalks. We don't have bike lanes for bikers that want to ride. When we look at the Blue Line and transportation from Roosevelt to get into the industrial corridor, it's not a safe passageway that those folks have to take public transportation. So I'm honored that I'm being recognized with this, this award that represent the work that I've been doing with the leaders in the village of Broadview. So thank you to the department heads have, you know, championed behind me with this, you know, making sure that we are participating in these calls and dotting our I's and crossing our T's and bringing the revenue. So out of this, we were able to secure a $2.9 million grant to create bike lanes in the village of Broadview. So I'm really, really excited about this work that we're doing. Thank you. And then on, I don't know the date. Eric, do you know the date of the Have a Heart Gala?
Yes, the 13th of May.
Okay, so on the 13th of May, Housing for It is going to be celebrating 25 years of service in the community. And the village of Broadview is being honored at that event for the Community Partner Award. And so that's just showing that, you know, the partnerships and the collaborations that we bring to the community is, you know, is top-notch, it's stellar. We are actually doing the work to be impactful to the lives of people. Not just the people that live in Broadview or work in Broadview, but the people that come and visit us every single day. They see the work, they see the initiatives that we put in place, and they believe in us. So I want to say publicly, thank you, Housing for It, for recognizing the village of Broadview. And congratulations on 25 years. Being 25 years in a nonprofit, if you track anything, it's really pretty much unheard of. So congratulations on 25 years of service. Then on Friday, April 21st, I got nominated and I got accepted by the Triton alumni. And so how this Triton thing came for me is when I first moved to the state of Illinois, I didn't know anybody. And the only thing that I can think of was to go to night classes, and I took some computer classes at Triton College just to get to know people. And I met my very first friend at Triton College, and we're still friends to this day, 27 years. And so Triton is recognizing me by, you know, inducting me to the Wall of Fame at Triton College. So,
Wow. Nice. That's like nice.
yeah, so I'm shocked about that too, because, you know, I end up securing some degrees and certificates, you know, through the classes that I took, but I'm just humbled of the respect that people have for me, because it just was never on my radar to, you know, to even be the mayor just wasn't on my radar, but I'm happy that I am in place to serve, and I'm being recognized for the work that's being done. So I thank Triton College, the alumni, for the induction. And then on this Friday, Earth Day is coming up, and you know I'm real involved with the environment and stuff like this, but we've been doing this for a couple of years where we invite fourth and fifth grade students to the Broadview Westchester Water Agency to give them a tour on how we process water. Because water conservation is just as important as air quality, solar paneling. It's still part of the environment. So the students get an opportunity with their teachers to come learn more about how we transport water. They get to go inside the water agency. They're going to plant some flowers and trees. We will feed them, and then we'll send them on their way, and then we, you know, so that's under the leadership of Director Ames and the fire department. They work hand in hand on some of those initiatives. I know the clerk come out and help, and I come out for a few minutes, and if it's cold, it's real few minutes. But I'm excited about this because we have the relationships with the local schools where their kids can come to our water agency to learn about water, and then we have an opportunity to share with them, you know, how we keep our community clean, picking up your trash, putting it in the right receptacles, and, you know, so we have an opportunity to engage with students for them to take pride in the communities that they live in. So Lindop is the only school that we have that's full, all residents, Broadview. And so we partnered with Roosevelt School because they're in Broadview. And so we shared our student population with Broadview and Maywood. But the Maywood students get the opportunity to learn about something that they may not have access to, like a water agency like we do. So we want to share our resources and make our young people knowledgeable, let them know that this is another career path that we don't talk about, like being a water operator. And these water operators make about $75,000, $80,000, and it's just a certification. So we get an opportunity to share with them to, you know, kind of channel their mind in other areas that traditionally we don't tap into. And so I'm happy that we get to share this with the young people. The Broadview Park District Mother's Day event is on May 6th. I sent out an email to the Board of Trustees who wanted to participate. Please let us know because we need to purchase our table for the trustees. And then on Friday, bingo with the seniors. Do you know what date that is?
April 28th.
Oh, April 28th, thank you. So April 28th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., we're going to do our bingo with the seniors. We're going to be raffling off prizes. We're going to feed them and just have a good time with our seniors. I do want to note, and I'm sure the clerk will do this too, we will have a special board meeting on April 27th for our public hearing. And then following that public hearing, we will have a board meeting to approve the budget for May 1. And we need to approve by state statute. We need to approve a budget by May 1 based off the Illinois state statute. And then finally, I would like to say every year we have a biggest weight loss loser contest in the village of Broadview, and several employees, our team, they do participate with the different departments. So today we got the results. I wasn't one of the big winners. But Miss Lindy, that's in the Ike 911 Center, she was in first place. Our second place was Tiffany in the building department, and third place was our very own village administrator. So congratulations on our first, second, and third place winners. But I do want to say congratulations to all those that participated, because when we look at the numbers and we see where we are with the weight loss, within that 12-week, between all of us, we lost 78 pounds. And the clerk also participates too. So that concludes my report. Oh, and just want to put on the radar, just know that after May, we'll have 2 board meetings in May. And then after that, we go to a summer schedule where we have 1 board meeting for June, July, August, and September. And it's the third board meeting, which will be our second board meeting for the Board of Trustees. However, the meeting in June will be on Tuesday after the Juneteenth, and that's a holiday for us, but we only have 1 meeting in June, so it will be on that Tuesday. And so that concludes my report. I do appreciate all of our residents giving me their support. They text me, they call me for questions and comments. They make comments on social media, so I like really being engaged with the community. And the only thing that I ask is just be transparent and upfront, and and not mislead the public in things that take place, and we need to keep that in mind. Let's not mislead the public with false information. So with that being said, I would like to say I need a motion for us to go into closed session.
Let me first do this. We do have closed session this evening. Item A, Section 2C11, litigation against or on behalf of the village of where the village finds that an action is probable or imminent. And item B, possible action on items coming out of closed session. A, possible action and consideration to opt into the national opioid settlements, et cetera, et cetera. At this time, we will ask for a motion to suspend the regular board meeting and go into closed session. Need a motion.
A motion, go into closed session. A motion to go into closed session. Is that what you need?
Second?
Second.
All right, thank you. It's been properly motioned by Trustee Shelby, seconded by Trustee Armour, to suspend the regular board meeting and go into closed session. I'm going to take a roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller. Trustee Miller?
Trustee Miller? Yes.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Madam President, this carries 6-0.
In closed session.
We are now hereby suspended from regular board meeting at 9:32 p.m. We'll be back. Yes, ma'am. Okay, for the record, the time is now 9:41. I'd ask for a motion to reconvene the regular board meeting from closed session.
Motion to reconvene.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Miller, seconded by trustee Armour to reconvene the regular board meeting. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Here.
Trustee Chamalave.
Here.
Trustee Senior.
Here.
Trustee Shelby.
Here?
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Present.
Thank you all. We are now hereby back in regular session at 9:42 p.m. We did have items discussed in closed session that we will possibly take action on. I'll defer to the mayor at this time. Mayor, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I would like to have a motion to consider to opt in into the national opioid settlements.
Motion to opt in.
Second.
Come on, clerk.
Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
No.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
Trustee Chamalave?
None.
Trustee Shelby?
None.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Miller?
No.
Mr. Clerk?
Okay, for the record, that was motion by trustee Miller, seconded by trustee Abraham. We'll take a roll call now. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes?
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And this carries 6-0. Thank you all. Now for the adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been properly motioned by trustee Miller, seconded by trustee Armour. Roll call to adjourn. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave.
Here.
Thank you. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
If I say no, we have to stay?
We do have to stay. And
Yes.
just to buy pizza. We are hereby adjourned at 9:43 p.m. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.